The Hessdalen-Phänomen. Hessdalen describes a high valley in the Norwegian municipality of Hessdalen in the province of Trøndelag, south of the city of Trondheim. Situated about 600 to 900 meters above sea level, the entire municipality is home to just under 2,000 inhabitants, with about 150 of them distributed among the village of Hessdalen. Pastures and farmsteads, along with the vast landscape and mountains, characterize the picture to be found. Due to the vicinity to the polar circle, even auroras can be observed and photographed on clear nights. Sounds nice, but not very spectacular. What makes this area so interesting? That researchers, pupils and also students spend their nights there. It's a so-called Hessdalen-Phänomen or Hessdalen lights. Soberly considered, these are only light boards of different size and color. The bandwidth ranges from about 5 to 6 centimeters to several meters in diameter. The phenomena are mostly perceived as white to yellowish, but also blue and red lights have been reported. Often, these phenomena are standing still in the sky above Hessdalen, although there are also reports of very fast-moving spheres in research reports. Objects detected by radar have been reported to move up to 30,000 kilometers per hour. The visibility of these objects move in a relatively wide time window from a few milliseconds to over 1 hour of observation time. Also observed was a blinking or flickering of the lights at different frequencies. Interestingly, Hessdalen is actually not the only place where such sightings are described more or less regularly. There is Brown Mountain near Morganton in western North Carolina. There, too, lights on and over the ridge are repeatedly reported. Also, the Skinwalker Ranch in Utah, as described in our first video, shows such light phenomena. But also in our latitudes, as for example at the Untersberg, light balls and inexplicable area phenomena allegedly appear again and again. But there's a striking difference to all these hotspots and the area in Norway, and exactly this difference makes Hessdalen so special. Since the beginning of the 1980s, the phenomenon has been extensively researched. Professor Erling Strand started the project Hessdalen in 1984. From January 21st to February 26th, the first field research took place, which included visual observation and documentation as well as the use of measuring instruments. Up to 20 observers took care of the data collection and sighting report during this period. The team was technically supported by cameras, also in the infrared range, radar, magnetometers, radio spectrometers, Geiger counters and seismographs. A special feature of a camera is a diffraction grating mounted in front of a lens, which enabled the researchers to evaluate the spectral composition of the captured light source, provided that the light source was intense enough to leave a spectrum during the mostly long-term imaging. Visual observations were made from 2 different locations, and all sightings were later divided into 2 categories: quality of a sighting and unusualness of a sighting. Thus, at the end of the initial fieldwork period, 53 observations were classified as Hessdalen phenomena. 2 observations turned out to be particularly unusual. One object changed its blinking frequency after a laser beam was directed at the phenomenon. Another responded with a kind of laser pointer seen on the ground by the researchers. The radar measurement showed 36 hits in the set period 1984, with 2 echoes so strong that, according to the researchers, they must have been either very strongly ionized air or even solid objects. The highest measured speed which one of the phenomena reached, was in the seized period after evaluation of the radar data with insane speed of 30,000 kilometers per hour. Interestingly, most of the movements and phenomena detected by radar could not be confirmed visually and were only detectable by instruments. In section 4.7 of the final report, you can find an interesting note, namely the non-functioning of the measuring instruments. Let me quote. During the project period, the cameras often failed. This usually happened when we needed them most. Such incidents should also have been registered. Also, some of the other instruments failed when we needed them most, mainly because of a bad power connection. All these events should have been recorded. This is somewhat reminiscent of UFO sightings around the world that gorgs, batteries, power supplies and so on fail just as you are trying to record or measure a phenomenon. The full final report can be viewed at Hessdalen.org, link in the video description. However, Project Hessdalen did not find an explanation for the phenomena. Another interesting side fact about Hessdalen, not necessarily related to the light phenomena found there, is a soil excavation found by a local moose hunter about 3 foot-hours off the nearest road in 1984. This excavation measures 5 meters to 1.8 meters to 0.3 meters and is equivalent to about 1 ton of material. The special thing here, no traces could be found, neither tire tracks nor evidence of the use of construction equipment. The root system was cleanly cut, as with a scalpel, and the entire excavation lay a few meters further, about 20-degree offset from the excavation position. A similar case also occurred in Norway in 1982 in Andøya. The dimensions here are with 5 to 2 to 0.3 meters, almost identical to the excavation found 2 years later in Hessdalen. In 1994, world leaders from various fields of research met at the Hessdalen Conference in Røros to discuss the possibility of the phenomena being bore lightning. Among others, Professor Boris Smirnov from Russia, Dr. Gerd Arnhoff from Austria, Professor Erling Strand, whom we already know from the Hessdalen 1984 project, and Dr. David Freiberger from the USA were present. All of them experts in the fields of bore lightning phenomena, self-sustaining electromagnetic fields, electromagnetic standing waves, tectonics, rotating plasma, plasma generation, and ionizing gases. The probably primary goal to explain the Hessdalen phenomena as bore lightnings failed, probably because of the fact that bore lightnings cannot sustain themselves as long as some sightings in Hessdalen do. However, what has emerged from this conference to date is the realization that the light bores are, at least in part, cold plasma or dusty plasma. In fact, no evidence or hint could ever be found that a light sphere would have left burns or heat damage on trees or bushes. Likewise, the already mentioned spectral measurements also suggested that the light consists of a kind of plasma and can change into the gaseous state. Both of these factors indicate that there is no heat generation associated with the lights. In 1998, on August 7th, the field research with the Hessdalen Automatic Measurement Station, short AMS, went into the next round. Blue Box, as the station is colloquially called because of its shape and color, at that time housed a magnetometer, an RF signal detector, 2 black and white, and a color camera. The development and responsibility again was under the direction of Erling Strand on behalf of the Østfold University of Applied Sciences and started already in 1995 under the name New Project Hessdalen. With the planning and implementation, with the commissioning of the AMS, it was now possible to monitor the area near Hessdalen with cameras around the clock. This data could be accessed and viewed remotely without the need for personnel to be present. A live stream accessible to everyone was also put online. In 1999, Italian scientists from the Institute of Radio Astronomy Bologna, in collaboration with the Østfold University of Applied Sciences, launched the Ambler project to continue and intensify the original research of Project Hessdalen. With more modern equipment, the search for the origins of the phenomena should be resumed and an explanation to the Hessdalen lights should be found. The project was led on the Italian side by Massimo Teodorani, Doctor of Astrophysics at the Institute of Radio Astronomy, and Gloria Nobili, physicist at the University of Bologna. As part of the Ambler project, the Blue Box also got some upgrades. Italy added an ELF detector in the years between 2000 and 2004 to monitor and correlate electromagnetic changes at very low frequency in the radio band. ELF stands for extremely low frequency and covers a range of 3 to 30 Hz. However, to my knowledge, the detector used could also cover frequencies up to the VLF range. VLF means very low frequency and covers a frequency range up to 30 kHz. For the sake of completeness, between ELF and VLF there are SLF, super low frequency, 30 to 300 Hz, and ULF, ultra low frequency, 300 Hz to 3 kHz. The ELF range, with its particularly long waves, has a very long range, especially penetrating deep through the rather poorly conducting medium of water, making this frequency very popular in the field of nautical radio, especially to stay in contact with submarines, and therefore used by military forces worldwide. However, the data with here is limited to about 10 bit per minute due to the long wavelength. Today, 3 ELF transmitters still officially exist. Also in the ELF range, you can, for example, receive the Schumann resonance frequency at an average of 7.83 Hz. This is a standing wave generated by the Earth's magnetic field and can be received around the globe in various intensities. Further, the Italian researchers installed a Sentinel-1 spectrometer up to 1.42 GHz, an Inspire ULF receiver for the range 100 to 22,000 Hz, which is used to detect signals in the ionosphere, so-called spherics. In 2003, the setup was further expanded by the Italians to include a VHF and UHF spectrum analyzer and a UHF radar. In 2001 and 2002, Norway extended the Blue Box with a Raytheon radar, a color CCD stereo camera with automatic recording function, and a weather station. Unfortunately, no clear result could be achieved until today. There is a comprehensive report on the Ambler project written by Teodorani and Nobili, but also a refutation by Dr. Matteo Leon. I linked both PDFs as usual in the video description for those who are interested. This is very interesting reading, which of course goes much deeper into the matter than I can show here in the video. Findings of the projects were, however, in any case that in Hessdalen it concerns different phenomena and not a recurring one. For example, the lights can also consist of several units that separate from each other but can also rejoin. The photometric measurement showed that some lights can release up to 100 kilowatts of energy in the form of radiated light. To stay with the Blue Box for a moment, the University of Würzburg, Germany, has been involved in the Hessdalen research since 2017 under the leadership of Professor Dr. Hakan Kayal and has developed and provided software that scans the collected video footage of the live streams for anomalies and saves it as a still image and video sequence. This, of course, makes the scientists' work much easier and the results more qualitative. Since the 2000s, more emphasis is put on visual observation, also as already done in the 80s with diffraction grating equipped cameras. cameras. Since 2002, the Inspiria Science Center organizes annual one-week science camps in September. Here, pupils and students learn the basics of field research and can also experience and overcome the still prevailing skepticism and hurdle of scientific research in border areas, so that future generations of researchers can approach unreservedly, even socially critical topics scientifically and without bias. A positive side effect of these science camps is, of course, an increased number of potential observers of a phenomena, and thus a higher data output for the research of the Hessdalen Lights. The most significant discovery to date was made by the science camp team in 2007 with what is probably the most famous photograph of a spectrum. Björn Gittler-Hauge was able to prove with this photo that the light phenomenon captured by the camera had no emission lines in the spectrum, which corroborated the already existing theory of a cold plasma. In January 2016, the Olaf Thon Foundation supported the research around Hessdalen with around 150,000 euros for an exemplary integration of pupils and students in research. Thanks to this funding, the science camps could be extended up to 2.5 weeks, and additional measuring and observation posts could be established on the surrounding mountain peaks. During my research for this video, I noticed that you can get the impression, no matter via Wikipedia or other sources, that these phenomena in Hessdalen just started in the 1980s. This is a pity, because it makes it seem a little bit like a media event, since that was also the time when the research started. But if you dig a little deeper, you will also find evidence that the sightings of the phenomena were documented as early in the 1970s, the 60s, the 50s, and even in the 1940s. The oldest case I could find refers to the year 1870, where an elderly lady near Erling claims to have sighted a flying object and even to have recognized let's say, a person in the flying object. Erling and Hessdalen are about 6 kilometers apart, so you can still talk about the same area. Theoretical approaches to explain the phenomena. Many approaches are aimed at the geologically prevailing conditions: high mineral content rock, copper deposits, zinc, iron, quartz, granite rock, scandium, sulfurous water. The theories arose around piezoelectric effects due to quartz in conjunction with copper, radon decay associated with the granite-containing rock, a chemical reaction from scandium and oxygen, and even a natural battery due to the sulfurous water, copper-containing rock on one side, zinc and iron on the other. All these theories can indeed cause light phenomena, but none explains how these phenomena can appear so far away from the natural battery. After all, the sightings refer to a relatively large area around Hessdalen, or how the phenomena can move against the wind or accelerate to several 10,000 km per hour. All approaches seem to be unable to provide a truly 100% solution due to the complexity of a phenomena. Also, it has been found over the years that the lights are not correlated with atmospheric or geological conditions. The measured data do not show any dependence on weather, air pressure, wind strength, solar activity, temperature, or even seasons, which would actually be expected if a Hessdalen phenomena should be atmospheric phenomena. Of course, there are theories that do not exclude extraterrestrial origin for the lights, but in general this seems to be a rather frowned upon idea, and probably more a possibility behind closed doors than an official ground for discussion. Although you may also see in the context that, for example, the Italian team of the project Ambler also makes measurements and researches in cooperation with SETI, the search for extraterrestrial intelligence. Also, in a renowned journal for aerospace, Acta Astronautica, an article of the ESA employee Philip Ayeris was published, which quite considers to examine Hessdalen phenomena and similar worldwide, also under the aspect of not terrestrial origin. The Hessdalen phenomenon remains unsolved for the time being, but the research continues. I have asked the three, in my opinion, most important persons of the past researches around the Hessdalen phenomenon whom we have already met in the course of this video, for a personal assessment. Professor Erling Strand is a founder and luminary of the Hessdalen research since the 1980s, Doctor of Astrophysics Massimo Teodorani, leader of the Ambler project, and Professor Björn Gittler-Hauge is specialized in the spectral measurements of the phenomena. Let me quote their answers. Professor Erling Strand wrote to me, "There are some challenges finding one answer on what the Hessdalen phenomenon might be. One is the differences between the sightings. We have split the descriptions in 4 main types. 1. White or blue flashes, lasting mostly less than a second. 2. Ball of light with different shapes, mostly yellow, sometimes with several colors, and sometimes smaller balls of light inside the main light, which can go out or go into the main light. It can last for minutes, sometimes hours. It can stand still, move slowly or fast. 3. Several lights together, as if they are connected to something. When it moves, all lights move together. 4. Objects seen in the daytime." It's hard to believe these different types are the same. Could it be several different things? We often use the plural name, Hessdalen-Phenomena, because of that possibility. If so, then why does all these happen in a small Norwegian valley? Why Hessdalen? What is especially with Hessdalen? The ground has much minerals in it. There are layers and areas with high electrical conductivity. There are locations with stronger magnetic field. How can such in the ground be the source of the Hessdalen phenomena? The Hessdalen phenomena can be followed by a radar, even when it's invisible for the human eye. There are sightings telling the Hessdalen phenomena becomes visible. Some observations or feelings can be explained by a strong ultra-low frequency sound or electromagnetic signal present. EM signals have been detected, which can be due to strong electrical pulses. Never has any heat been felt by people who has been close enough to the Hessdalen phenomena. No snow melting when the Hessdalen phenomena has touched the snow. Spectral analysis could indicate heat. Those Hessdalen phenomena, which can illuminate for hours and even illuminate the ground. Where does the power to the light come from? Very few happenings could bring us to think there is something intelligent. However, these cases are too few to be taken into account. If the Hessdalen phenomena can be explained with some natural cause, then the nature must have some new, undiscovered properties. Could it be some properties in the valley which make the borderline between the physical and non-physical part of our nature different than other places? The non-physical part is closer to the physical part. When you study the Hessdalen phenomena, it is easy to make speculations. I feel we need better and broader instrumentations and observations. We want to improve the instrumentations we have in Hessdalen so the real cause or causes can be found. We are looking for sponsors. Erling Strand. Massimo Teodorani, Doctor of Astrophysics, wrote me the following. The Hessdalen phenomenon, due to its recurrent behavior, is scientifically measurable using multi-wavelength, well-calibrated instruments. All the efforts are now concentrated in obtaining new, high-quality data of this kind of phenomenon, both in Norway and in other places of the planet. Several theories and speculations have been ventured in order to try to explain this phenomenon, including some that involve some kind of intelligence. As we only scratched the surface of a big submerged iceberg, we are not yet in a condition to say what the phenomenon is. Searching for a scientific answer is a goal that we owe not only to our scientists but also to the general public. This demands both a strong methodological rigor and a balanced open mind. We have to observe and then record very carefully reality as it appears, not as we would like it is or as it would be more convenient to us. Measurement instruments, if well used, can furnish to us the answer, and a sight without black filters can allow us to interpret correctly what we are seeing. Massimo Teodorani, Doctor of Astrophysics. Professor Björn Gittler-Hauge replied, hypothesis. The Hessdalen lights seem to erupt from the ground, not from the sky. The optical spectrum from these lights are continuous, suggesting plasma. Power source creating it is still to be discovered. Björn Gittler-Hauge. At this point, I would like to express my best thanks for the excellent support of these three scientists who provided me with photo, video and text material to make this video possible at all. My heartfelt thanks. What about you guys? Have you ever seen such lights? Do you know similar phenomena? Feel free to write in the comments and tell us about your experiences. Check out our channel for more videos, and if you like something, feel free to leave a thumbs up so we know what topics you find exciting in the future. If you want to be on the safe side and don't want to miss anything in the future, subscribe and ring the bell and you will be notified when new stuff's coming up. In this sense, think out of the box, beyond horizons.
Der fikk jeg helt to meg.
Hvor?
Ja, det siste fikk jeg. Der.
Å, der! Å, det siste farve.
Nei.
Er det fly?
Nå holder jeg kameraet rolig. Nei, ikke farlig. For dette... Sjekk det. Hva forsvant det? Og det vi har sett flere ganger her, det er det at det kommer sånne små flash om natta. Når de flashene kommer, så påvirker det her. Da blir hele det mønstret her, det gjør det sånn litt grann opp sånn. Og det er ikke bare litt ut av det ting. Det er akkurat der. se, når et flash kommer, så kan vi se det her, på grunn av det her. Der! Blink! Det er to! Det er to! Nå må vi det. Oi! Styrke. Rød. Lukk lyset. Lukk lyset nå! Der, kom igjen! Der var jeg. Jeg har det inne! Ja, jeg har det inne! Vektrål! Nå er det som ødelegger. Bra. Der, ja. Jeg har virkelig nytt sted her. Der, ja. Åpne da. Der, ja.
Faen i helvete! Kjøkk da! Fy faen, jeg trodde det faen ikke. Der!
Der. Wow!
Fucking shit!
Hold på. Nei, ikke. Åh, det er rått.
Det der var seriøst konge.